I get it, you're standing in the driveway, wrench in hand, and you're trying to decide whether you really need to shell out for a whole garage-sized compressor or if a smaller unit will actually get the job done. You've probably spent a few minutes scrolling through endless specs and wondering if any of them really matter to you. Will this thing actually keep your tires inflated, your paint sprayer humming, and your pneumatic tools humming without blowing a fuse? And more importantly, will it hold up after a few months of weekend projects without turning into another piece of junk you toss in the corner? That's the exact hesitation I felt before I dug into the Ingersoll Rand P1.5IU A9H 7.5 HP Garagemate air compressor. The link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, so you can see the exact price and shipping options while I walk through what really matters. First things first, this isn't a truck-size beast that needs a dedicated concrete slab. The Garagemate name is a nod to its portable design, about the size of a small suitcase, with a handle that slides out for easy carrying. That makes it a solid candidate for anyone who doesn't have a full-sized workshop but still wants to run a nail gun or a small impact wrench around the house. If you're the type who spends Saturdays inflating tires, cleaning gutters, or doing a little DIY furniture assembly, the size and weight will feel just right. On the flip side, if you're looking to power a full-scale spray booth or a lot of pneumatic tools at the same time, you'll quickly discover the limits. The 7.5 HP motor can deliver decent airflow, but the tank holds roughly 2.5 gallons, so you'll hear the pump kick in after a few minutes of continuous use. That's fine for intermittent tasks, but not for long-running, high-volume work. One thing that really stood out when I read through the product description and compared a handful of user Q&As is how Ingersoll Rand has aimed for a user-friendly experience. The control panel is stripped down to the essentials: a pressure gauge, a simple on-off switch, and a quick release valve that lets you bleed off excess pressure with a single pull. For someone who isn't a mechanic by trade, that simplicity translates into less guesswork and fewer chances of overpressurizing your tools. I've watched a few DIY videos where beginners wrestle with complicated digital readouts, only to end up shutting the unit off at the wrong time. With this Garagemate, the analog gauge is clear and the pressure dial is marked in 5 psi increments, which is more than enough precision for most home tasks. Now, let's talk about reliability. Ingersoll Rand has a reputation for long-life components, and the P1.5IU A9H doesn't break that trend. The motor is oil-free, which eliminates the need for regular oil changes, a small thing that can become a big hassle if you forget. The pump itself runs at a steady 115 dB, which is quieter than many comparable compressors on the market. I've seen a few reviewers note that the noise level is low enough to not be a nuisance when you're working in a garage attached to the house. That's a real win if you're conscious about keeping the peace with neighbors or family members during a weekend project. But there are trade-offs you need to be aware of. The lack of an automatic shut-off feature means you have to manually monitor the pressure gauge. If you're accustomed to units that stop themselves when they hit the set pressure, you'll need to stay a bit more vigilant. Additionally, the hose that comes with the compressor is a standard 25-foot rubber length. For many homeowners, that's sufficient, but if you're planning to use the compressor across a large workshop or need a longer reach for a fence painting job, you'll likely want to invest in an extra length of hose. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's an extra cost to factor into your budget. Looking at real-world use cases, imagine you're prepping a set of tires for a summer road trip. A typical passenger car tire requires about 3,035 psi, and this compressor can easily bring a tire up to that level in under a minute. The portable design means you can store it in your trunk and pull it out as needed, rather than lugging a heavy, stationary unit around. For a casual homeowner who only inflates tires occasionally, that convenience outweighs the modest tank size. On the other hand, suppose you're a hobbyist woodworker who likes to use a nail gun for framing small projects. With a 2.5-gallon tank, you'll find yourself hearing the pump cycle after every few dozen nails. That's manageable if you're okay with a brief pause, but it does break the flow for anyone who expects a continuous stream of power. Who should definitely consider this compressor? If you're a weekend warrior who does light to moderate pneumatic work tire inflation, small nail guns, occasional spray painting, or a few bursts of power for a DIY job, this unit hits the sweet spot between price,